Let's now move to this story. Truck drivers travelling through Uphongolo are really concerned for their safety, but residents want more effective action to keep children safe on the roads. Now, a driver is facing 20 counts of culpable homicide after his truck collided with a bakkie outside Uphongolo on Friday, killing 18 children and 2 adults. An absolutely shocking story. Community members set a truck alight after the incident, understandably furious, but drivers are now implementing a self-imposed diversion from the highway. Officials were in the area today, and I'm joined now by eNCA Senior Reporter Dasen Thathiah. Dasen, thank you so much for joining us. Talk to us about what the Portfolio Committee said.
Also, definitely, the shock in this area is still quite palpable. You can see that the community has not gotten over that, and I think what's exacerbated it is the fact that there was dashcam footage which showed exactly how that accident transpired, and it's something that the residents have been talking about for the longest time. So prior to the Portfolio Committee coming here today for their visits, that's the Transport Portfolio Committee as well as the Education Portfolio Committee, you know that there was a government delegation that came here yesterday. So today's visit was slightly different. It was an oversight visit. It was a fact-finding mission for that Portfolio Committee to find out exactly what had been done and what hadn't been done. And to do that, they had to look at those two issues, the one being the issue of transportation generally that relates to the trucks that travel through the Pongola area, and secondly, in relation to education and how that comes into play. So, for example, why parents are choosing certain schools and not the ones that are closer to their homes. And if they choose those schools, why are they doing that? Does it mean that the quality of those schools closer to their homes are not necessarily of a high standard? And why are they choosing then to put their children at the back of these bakkies and send them to schools that are further away and pay a fee for that? So it's quite a deep issue, and it's multi-layered, and that's part of what the portfolio committees were here to do today. Try to understand that, and at some point they will report back to this community. They say it'll be quite soon. But I think there's now a consensus that government and authorities in general have failed this community when it comes to this issue because they've raised the alarm before. And that acknowledgement was also made by the Transport Portfolio Committee chairperson, Vusi Dube, when I spoke to him earlier. Let's listen to what he had to say.
As an oversight committee, we cannot stand here and play innocent. We believe that we have failed these people in many ways. Because you see, what happened here, we have lost 18 children, but they are saying they've been losing children all the time. They've been losing community members all the time. And now we have to respond like this. So honestly, I do not blame the government. As an oversight committee, we need to come back to this community and even to the chief of the area and the induna of the area, one, to apologize for not listening to the people, but number two, to sit down with them and map out a way forward of how to assist in a situation that we are facing as a government. It's their government, it's their road. They must give a recommendation. If we have to expand these roads, we must do that. If we have to divert these trucks, we must do that. But we believe that something must be done.
Yeah, it's a very important acknowledgement. We also see in a media release, we'll be speaking to him later in the programme, the Zululand mayor, calling for trucks to be banned during the day, that they only use those roads between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. So there are all sorts of suggestions coming forward now. But tell me about the residents you've spoken to and their message.
Definitely, Sal. I think this is the time now that people have realized that it is an urgent matter. It needs to be dealt with quickly. I mean, if I had to just report back on the past 2 days, I've personally noticed here that there have been more law enforcement officials that have been on the roads. Whether that's going to be a permanent feature or not, we'll have to see. But at least for now, we did see a roadblock, for example, today where some of the trucks were being stopped on that route that we spoke about earlier, the diversion, the alternate route that they are meant to be taking. But residents say that, they've been talking about this for a long time. There is even a Facebook group that they've had where they report bad driving from truck drivers. Others have said that they've tagged the transport minister in tweets. They've been alerting them. So they feel that they've done their part, and now it's time for government to do theirs. We had an opportunity to speak to some of those residents. In fact, the person who's behind that Facebook group that I mentioned relating to these issues, and he says that this has been an ongoing problem. Let's listen now to what Adrian Channing Pierce had to say when I spoke to him earlier.
Well, I think we go back to the start of the war in Ukraine with this exponential increase in the demand for our coal into Europe and to China. And all this is now moving on the roads, which meant literally a threefold increase in the number of trucks coming onto our roads, many of whom are driving dangerously. And we do have very little law enforcement on this entire stretch of the N2, right from Uphongolo to Richards Bay.
Yeah, an important point. And of course, let's not forget the state of our railways and also what the floods did to the railways, so coal can't be transported as easily. I see you've got your brolly up. We know there's a lot of rain around in KwaZulu-Natal. Another worrying factor when we look at our roads. Dasen Thathiah, such an important story. Thank you for bringing us the very latest on that.